Ackee and the Salt Fish. Well, hello islanders and world viewers. Today we'll be making Jamaican Ackee and the Salt Fish for you. Ackee and Salt Fish incidentally forms a part of our national dish, and today we'll be making that for you. Here we are showing you some of the ackee that is still in the pod. That's what it looks like before you take it out. And when you're going to prepare it, you have to remove the seed, which is the black part, and a little red part that is sometimes inside of it, as you can see right there. So that's what we're going to be preparing for you today. All right. Okay guys, there we have it. The water is boiling now because we have to boil the salt fish first. It's just like we showed you in our other video when we did the mackerel rundown. Once you are dealing with any meat that has been processed to become very salty, you have to make sure that you soak it in water a little, or you can just boil it maybe 2 or 3 times. But I find it easier to just simply soak it in some water at first, and you'll see this piece of salt fish, it's a bit thick. Yes, so we're going to just boil it a little bit in the water first, put it in, and then we add the ackee afterwards. Alright, that's it. Leave that to boil for a little bit, maybe about 5 minutes, and then we'll add the ackee to it. Okay, remember I showed you the ackee when it was in the pod and with the seeds and everything. Now it's all cleaned up and ready to boil. Everything has been removed, the little pieces on the inside have been removed, and the little seed has been removed, so it's ready to join the pot now. I'm going to just turn up the stove a little bit. And add this ackee to the pot. Yes, it's boiling up enough. It's boiling more than enough. I think it is ready now for the ackee. And you have to be careful not to burn yourself. So you just put it in like that. To add all of it quickly. Now ackee is something that doesn't need a lot of time to boil, so we're gonna let this sit here for another maybe 10 minutes to boil, and then when you come back to it, you can just check it with a little fork to see if it's ready, because some types of ackee will boil faster than other types, so you can just check it a little with a fork when we get back in the next 10 minutes. Okay, that's it. Just cover back my pot. Not fully covered because of the salt fish in it. If you cover it completely, you'll find that it might just boil over, and we don't want that. So we're just gonna leave it there for 10 minutes, as I said, to boil. Okay, here we are with the seasoning that we are going to use for this ackee and salt fish dish. You have the thyme, tomatoes, bell pepper or sweet pepper, onion, and garlic. You know, garlic is one of my favorite natural seasonings, so I always use it in just about everything I use. I really love it, and I always remind people that it's optional. So we're going to prepare this seasoning. We're going to go ahead and crush that garlic and cut up all these seasonings and have them ready, so that once the ackee and the salt fish has come to a full boil, we can just move right into getting them fried up. Okay, so the garlic is all crushed, because you know some persons don't really like to taste the bits of the garlic, but they love the flavor of it. So we've crushed it nicely, and I'm going to go ahead and cut up the other seasoning now. right, we're back, and this ackee and salt fish is ready now. It's quite ready. We're just gonna pour off that water and take the salt fish out and clean it up just like we did with the salt mackerel in our video, as I mentioned before, our video with the salt mackerel rundown. Yes. All right, we want to make sure that you're pouring off this water from the ackee. You can just drain away nicely like that. Good. That's it. Now we don't want that saltfish to get overly fresh, because you know you need a little bit of the salty taste in the ackee and saltfish. After all, it is ackee and saltfish. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and pick this up now quickly. Okay, here we have our pressed garlic, and we're just gonna add it to this pot, which is already preheated with oil. You want to put a generous amount of oil, not, I mean, you're not going to half the pot, of course, but put a generous amount that can, you know, take in the seasoning properly when it's going to be marinating it. And then the ackee, don't worry about having too much oil, because when you're finished the service, you'll see how we'll eliminate the oil from it, the excess oil. But you want it to be a little bit sizzling, so you have to make sure that you have enough oil in the pot. I always love the smell of fresh garlic. Of course, you can use a little powdered garlic if you wish, and if you don't have fresh garlic, but it's my preference once I have it. Okay. Ready to add the other seasonings now. Freshly picked thyme from our garden. Right here, leave that sizzling. You don't want it to be too hot, just warm enough for the seasoning that we're putting in now. But you want it to marinate in it, not just over fry and get crispy. Alright, there you go. Onion and garlic is bought, but the sweet pepper, or bell pepper, the green one as we call it in Jamaica, sweet pepper, some persons call it bell pepper, thyme, and the tomatoes are from our backyard. We planted them, and it's always a good feeling to reap something that you've planted. Eat what you grow. Yes. See that? That's gonna marinate there a little bit. Colorful. Just keep spinning it a little bit, turning it a little bit, turning it around. Like I said, it's just marinating so that all the flavors can just be released in the oil, so that when the saltfish and the ackee touches this oil, it just absorbs some of that flavor right away. Now I should let you know that ackee is a tree that bears a fruit, and the fruit is what we are preparing today. Some additional information for you. Ackee, if it's not fully ready, like ripened, can be poisonous, so you have to be careful where you get ackee. You have to make sure that the pod, like I showed you earlier on, before they were picked out of the pod, you have to make sure that they are open. The pod is open, that you can see the head of the ackee exposed, the black part of it. Then you know it's ready. If you have to be forcing it over, chances are you'll run into a problem with that. These natural seasoning, oh, the smell. It smells so good, so good, so good, so good. Alright, it's just about time to add the ackee and the saltfish now. I personally like adding the saltfish a little before the ackee so that it gets a little bit of like simmering in the oil, you know, just a little bit. Alright, so we're adding the ackee now. You see that steam? Everything is hot. It's really hot. Wow. Okay, there we have it. Everything coming together real nice. The colors are just popping. That red, gold, and green. And this you're gonna do it for just about, say, another 5 to 7 minutes because it's already cooked. You just want the oil to simmer through it with the seasoning, the flavor of the seasoning. And like I said, don't worry about the oil because when you're serving it, you're going to use a nice spoon that has you know, the holes in it. It's a bit porous so that that oil can be separated. Yes, that's it. I am smelling it now. All the flavors are coming all together. It's so fabulous. Wow. Looking at that. I'm still wondering what I'm going to serve this with, what I'm going to have it with. But I have time to decide on that. Usually in Jamaica, I'm sure you know, well, some of you know, some of you won't know. In Jamaica, we have this with ground provision, as we call it. Green bananas, yam, maybe sweet potato, and boiled dumplings as well. Just adding a little black pepper now to the mix. This is the finishing touches that we're putting on now, you know. That's it. Just covering the full surface. We're not overdoing it, but we're just covering the surface with the black pepper. Look at that. Wow. That is lovely. Ready to serve. I'm going to turn off this stove now. Okay, remember I told you not to worry about the oil because we're going to separate it. This is the spoon I'm going to use to serve it so that we can just basically eliminate, you know, too much oil being served. Really. That's it. Yes, look at that. Fabulous. Great. Wow. See in the plate, you can notice that you don't see any oil spreading around because you're using this kind of spoon that, you know, allows us to separate as much as we want. Yeah, there you have it. Ackee and the saltfish. Served any time of day. Mainly in Jamaica we have it for breakfast, but you can have it any time of day, either breakfast, lunch, or dinner. At breakfast time we'll have it maybe with just a few green bananas or fried dumpling or something like that light. But generally speaking, you can have it any time of day. That's it. Okay guys, I do hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you for watching. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification button. See you next time. Ciao.